Có xong cử đầu này con cảm thấy rất vui khi mình rất giống với chủ tịch của Triều Tiên. Tại vì trong nước không ai béo giống con.
Cũng chỉ là làm một cái gì đó cho nó vui vui thôi, nhưng mà không ngờ mọi người hưởng ứng như thế thì mình rất là vui.
And now, with round-the-clock updates from Reuters journalists, here are today's top stories.
Whistleblowers raise new conflict of interest questions at the White House.
I think we're in a very good situation.
A key Fed official says now is not the time to be raising rates.
We'll soon find out.
Trump lowers the bar for his Hanoi summit.
As long as there's...
This is Reuters Now.
Democrats on Capitol Hill have opened a new probe of the White House after whistleblowers said senior aides to President Donald Trump ignored repeated warnings they could be breaking the law in their push to build nuclear reactors in Saudi Arabia. According to a report released Tuesday by the House Oversight Committee, President Trump's former national security advisor Michael Flynn and two aides had promoted a multi-billion-dollar deal to transfer highly sensitive nuclear technology to the Saudis without going through the mandatory approval process in Congress. The report said Flynn promoted the plan with longtime Trump advisor Tom Barrack, the chairman of Trump's inaugural committee, along with a consortium of U.S. firms including Westinghouse. Reporter Jonathan Landay has the story.
The report was based on accounts from whistleblowers who are unidentified and documents. According to the report, the whistleblowers said that there were multiple warnings that were conveyed to the promoters of this plan within the White House, and yet they still insisted on pursuing it.
According to the report, Flynn himself was an advisor to the consortium while also working for Trump's campaign and transition, raising flags over conflict of interest. Flynn was fired after less than a month on the job over his contacts with Russia and pled guilty to lying to the FBI in the Mueller probe. A top lawyer on the National Security Council had ordered the nuclear project halted, but the report said Trump's White House appears to have continued it anyway, and investigators fear Trump may still be considering the deal.
The committee, chaired by Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings, announced that it is going to investigate this matter, which means that the White House faces yet another congressional inquiry. Right now, those inquiries range from an investigation into Russia's intervention in the 2016 election to President Trump's business affairs.
The White House, Flynn, and the consortium had no immediate comment. The consortium hoped to build nuclear reactors in Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and other Arab states. Senators from both parties worry Saudi Arabia might try to develop nuclear weapons if equipped with U.S. technology without stringent oversight. Last month, the Senate passed a bill effectively rebuking Trump for supporting Saudi Arabia after the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
The Federal Reserve's key interest rates are just fine where they are. That's the view of New York Federal Reserve President John Williams. He told Reuters exclusively Tuesday that after raising rates 7 times since 2017 to the 2.25% to 2.5% range, the so-called Fed funds rate is now economically neutral, meaning it's not holding back economic growth or speeding it up.
Inflation's near our target, unemployment's very low. We can wait and see a bit, watch the data, analyze, and come to conclusions about where policy is going. So I don't think policy is set for all time, but for right now, I think we're in a very good place.
The Fed not only declined to raise interest rates at its meeting in January, it surprised many by signaling it was pushing the pause button on any future rate hikes.
This is definitely a very interesting time in terms of the data flow. I think I and most people expected growth to be slower in 2019, but we definitely are getting a lot of different signals about that. The data have been coming in. Some of the data have been really strong, some less so. Again, that's pretty much a strong argument for taking some time, reassessing the data, and getting a clearer picture of where the economy is and where it's going.
The Fed's next meeting is a month away, and policymakers will then update forecasts on where they think the economy is really heading.
Already facing charges of lying and obstruction in the Russia probe, former Trump advisor Roger Stone is being hauled back into court on Thursday, this time for posting an Instagram photo appearing to threaten the judge overseeing his criminal trial. The photo showed U.S. District Judge Amy Berman Jackson alongside what appeared to be the crosshairs of a gun. In the posting, Stone wrote that Jackson was a, quote, Obama-appointed judge who dismissed the Benghazi charges against Hillary Clinton. Justice Department reporter Sarah Lynch is on the story.
Roger Stone has been around D.C. circles for years. He's known and he is proud of his title, the dirty trickster, in political campaigns and the like. And so it's not surprising in many ways that he is behaving in this way, but it is a stark contrast from what he had told me when I sat down with him a number of weeks ago. He was very restrained. He did not want to criticize this judge, and he said he would abide by any court order.
I will obviously respect any order of the court.
But he has since gone and done the complete opposite and criticized her on Instagram.
Stone also accused special counsel Robert Mueller of being a, quote, deep state hitman. He later deleted the Instagram image and reposted it without the crosshairs before removing it again.
All I can tell you today is I will tell the truth.
Stone pleaded not guilty to charges of making false statements to Congress and obstruction and witness tampering in Mueller's Russia probe and is currently out on a $250,000 bond. Jackson had just issued a partial gag order on Stone and his lawyers last Friday. On Tuesday, the judge said that at Thursday's hearing, Stone would need to show why the post did not violate that gag order or the conditions of his release.
We've seen Paul Manafort, President Trump's former campaign manager, violate a gag order previously before this same judge, and she scolded him, but she didn't do anything. What's different here is the fact there was this image next to the picture, which many believe appeared to be crosshairs of a gun. So it is potentially serious if, in fact, the judge construes this as a threat upon her.
On Monday, Stone's attorneys filed a formal apology with the court over the photo. Stone later posted a statement on his account saying the photo was not intended to threaten the judge or disrespect the court.
With just a week away to his meeting in Hanoi, President Trump has a new mantra for North Korea: no testing, no rush.
If there's testing, that's another deal.
North Korea has put its nuclear and missile testing on ice, at least publicly, since 2017. Speaking to reporters at the White House on Tuesday, the president said sanctions on Pyongyang will stay put, but that he has no pressing time schedule for the country's denuclearization. It's a different approach from the Singapore summit, where the president went in with high expectations for quick results.
Well, I'd just like to see ultimately denuclearization of North Korea. I think we will see that ultimately.
As Trump downplays expectations for this summit, it clashes with a message from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo just last week, who urged Kim Jong Un to make a move fast.
He's told us that he will, and now it's time for him to deliver.
On Wednesday, Pompeo emphasized that the U.S. aimed to get as far down the road as it can ahead of the summit, though overall, the Trump administration has moved away from demands that the North give up its weapons immediately. Experts say it's adopted a more gradual, reciprocal approach, the kind that Pyongyang has insisted on all along. Earlier this month, U.S. Special Representative Stephen Biegun spent 3 days in North Korea in a trip he said was aimed at agreeing on concrete deliverables ahead of the summit. He's hinted at compromise before, too.
And nothing in today's circumstances necessarily guarantees that we will be successful. However, today, we differ in both situation and approach from the past.
Biegun now heads to Hanoi to make the final preparations for the big meeting.
Manny Machado, baseball's 26-year-old superstar infielder, will sign a contract with the San Diego Padres that will pay him $300 million over the next 10 years, media reports. If confirmed, it would be the most lucrative free agent contract in the history of American sports, according to MLB.com. Machado, who spent the first 6 seasons of his career with the lackluster Baltimore Orioles, was traded mid-season to the Los Angeles Dodgers, where he helped lead them to a second straight trip to the World Series. A 4-time All-Star and 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, Machado didn't get a World Series ring, but that didn't hurt his status as one of baseball's 2 superstar free agents this winter. Several teams were in the bidding, including the Chicago White Sox, who even signed his brother-in-law to a deal hoping Machado would follow. Enter San Diego, who offered him a 10-year deal after struggling mightily last season with a record of 66 wins and 96 losses, the worst in the National League. With Machado now signed, fans' attention will turn to All-Star left fielder Bryce Harper, where he will end up and the size of the deal.
You're up to date. For more, download the Reuters TV app on your mobile or streaming device.